The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller is a book that came out in 2012, but it has still endured the test of time because I'm reading it a good 10 years later. This book is about Patroclus. He is a young prince who there's a coming-of-age story of sorts for him because he grew up in a very unloving household, you know, because he's kind of like weak and he's not the strapping young lad that his parents want him to be. And when he's forced into exile, he basically has to live in another kingdom, and he meets Achilles, a very handsome lad, you know, popular, handsome, tall, athletic, half god. So Patroclus and him become friends, and then Achilles chooses him to be his companion, basically, and they start a relationship together. However, their short-lived time together is thrown away with prophecies. This is an epic fantasy based off of the Iliad mostly, but it doesn't really focus too much on like the... It does take place in the Trojan War, but it's not about the war, it's about the characters. It's a very character-driven story about their relationship, how war changes you, because the two young boys basically are thrown into war, and they have to be there for so long that they grow into war, and it changes them not for the better. The book has really great usage of low fantasy elements. It doesn't dive too much, but there's like prophecies, there's gods, there's like little smaller gods and nymphs. You know, you have your giant pantheon from Olympus that are super powerful, but then you have like the lesser known ones, and there's human sacrifice and just sacrifice in general to like favor gods. So certain sides have like they're patrons of the gods, and they get certain abilities or they get certain aspects, you know, depending on how devout you are with your priests or priestesses. So I really liked how that wasn't like a major part of it, but the book destroyed me emotionally, man. The story was just so, like, it started off really slow because it's like a coming-of-age tale, but then when it gets into the war stuff, it just, the prose is just so masterful and lyrical. The descriptions of the faces in specific scenes just totally comes alive. The war stuff is brutal, but not overly so. It's not like quite a grimdark, but it just basically showcases the brutality of war, and really developed characters from all sides, enemies and friends alike, foes and allies. There's just some really great action sequences in there too, but the book is just so balanced because it's mainly focusing on the relationship between Patroclus and Achilles. That's kind of like the main core story. Even if you throw gods and battles and duels and all this cool stuff in there, it doesn't take away from that. And ultimately, it was a really emotional but satisfying tale of brotherhood and loyalty and coming-of-age tale and war. It was just really all-encompassing. It feels like a really nice, fresh take on an old epic. You know, I was expecting the horse to come in, but they don't do that. It's not about that. So The Song of Achilles is a very strong book. I can see why it's still relevant to this day. I definitely will check out Circe. And yeah, I give The Song of Achilles a 5 out of 5.